Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Daily English Podcast. I'm Ben, and I'm really excited to be here with you today.
Hi, I'm Emily. Thanks for joining us wherever you are in the world. Ben, today's topic is honestly one of my favorites. It's something people everywhere talk about.
That's right. Today we're diving into the question, why do people prefer to live in cities? Have you ever wondered about that? Maybe you live in a city now, or maybe you're dreaming of moving to one.
Or maybe you're thinking, no way, I love the countryside. Either way, this episode is for you. We'll look at why so many people choose city life, what's great about it, and what can be, well, not so great.
Exactly. And if you're learning English, we're here to help you with real-life conversation, interesting stories, and some new vocabulary along the way. By the end of this episode, you'll be able to talk about cities, and maybe you'll even have a new opinion.
So stay with us for the next 15 to 20 minutes. We promise lots of fun, useful tips, and of course, friendly chat.
All right, Emily, before we jump in, let's share our own connections to this topic. Can you tell our listeners about your experience with city life?
Sure. So I grew up in a small town in the north of England. It was quiet. Lots of green fields, sheep, that sort of thing. But when I turned 18, I moved to London for university. And honestly, it was like stepping onto another planet. Everything was noisy, busy, fast. At first I felt lost, but soon I fell in love with the energy of the city.
That's such a classic story. I can relate. I'm from Chicago, a big city in the U.S., so I've always been surrounded by tall buildings, crowds, and the sound of traffic. But funny enough, I often dream about escaping to the countryside for some peace and quiet.
So you're the opposite of me. Isn't it interesting how we're drawn to different lifestyles at different times?
Absolutely. And that's what today's episode is all about. Understanding why so many people prefer cities and what makes city life so attractive. Let's get started.
Let's do it. So, Ben, maybe we should begin by explaining what we mean by city. What counts as a city?
Great idea. So, a city is usually a large town where lots of people live and work. It's bigger than a village or a small town, and it usually has lots of buildings, businesses, shops, and public transportation. Think of places like New York, Tokyo, or Paris.
Right. And cities often have what we call urban areas. That means areas with lots of buildings, roads, and, well, people. The opposite is rural, which describes the countryside, fields, forests, farms.
Exactly. And when we talk about people preferring to live in cities, we're really asking, what's so special about urban life? Why do people leave their small towns and villages to move into these big, sometimes chaotic places?
Let's break it down. I think the most common reason people move to cities is for work. Cities have more job opportunities. Isn't that right?
Yes, absolutely. Cities are economic centers. There are companies, factories, shops, restaurants, and so much more. If someone wants to find a job or start a business, the city is often the best place to try.
And not just any job. There are often jobs in different industries. For example, you might find offices for technology companies, banks, hospitals, schools, and creative industries like film or fashion.
Exactly. More choices means more chances to find something you love or something that pays well. And, that's a big reason why young people especially move to cities after finishing school.
That's true. I remember when I first moved to London, my head was spinning. So many different jobs I'd never heard of before. It really opened my eyes.
So let's keep going. Besides work, what's another big reason people prefer city life?
Oh, easy. Education. Cities usually have more schools, colleges, and universities. And often, the best schools are in big cities.
Right. If you want to study something very specific, let's say architecture or medicine, you might have to move to a city to find the right school. There are also more libraries, museums, and places to learn. So if you love learning, the city is a great place to be.
That's so true. And not just for young people. Even adults can take classes, join workshops, or go to lectures. Cities really are hubs for learning.
Here's an interesting fact. Did you know that more than half the world's population now lives in cities? That's over 4 billion people. It's kind of amazing when you think about it.
Wow, I didn't know it was that many. That must mean cities have a lot to offer. What about culture, Ben? I feel like cities are full of culture, music, art, festivals.
Definitely. In most big cities, you can find theaters, cinemas, art galleries, and concerts. There are always events happening, food festivals, parades, street fairs. There's so much to see and do, it's almost impossible to be bored.
And that's something I really love about city life. I remember one summer in London, I went to a different festival almost every weekend. Food from around the world, live music, dancing in the streets. It was just electric.
Electric. That's a great word for it. There's an energy in cities that you just don't find in smaller places, and it's not just about fun. Cities also have important services. Hospitals, police, fire stations. Everything is close by.
Right. And that can make life easier. If you need a doctor, or even just a pharmacy, you usually don't have to travel very far. Public transport is another big plus. Buses, trains, taxis. Getting around is so much easier in a city.
Let's not forget the shopping. Cities are full of shops, malls, markets. If you need something, you can find it. And often you have a lot of choice from big brands to small, unique shops.
And food. Oh my goodness, the food. In the city, you can eat food from almost any country. Chinese, Indian, Italian, Mexican. Sometimes all on the same street.
I love that. And for some people, meeting new people is a big reason to love city life. Cities are full of people from all around the world. It's easy to make friends from different backgrounds.
That's so true. I remember meeting people from 5 different countries in one day at a cafe in London. We were all there for different reasons, but we shared stories and learned from each other. It was amazing.
It's a real melting pot, a place where cultures mix together. That's actually where the phrase comes from. Cities are places where people, ideas, and cultures all mix and create something new.
But, Ben, let's be fair. It's not all perfect. There are definitely some challenges to living in a city.
Definitely. Maybe we can talk about some of the downsides now. For example, cities can be noisy, sometimes really noisy. There's traffic, construction, people talking, and it can be hard to find peace.
And expensive. Oh my goodness. Living in a city can cost a lot. Apartments are small, but the rent is high. Even a coffee can be double the price compared to a small town.
That's true. And there's often less space. Small apartments, busy streets, crowded buses. Sometimes you just want a little room to breathe.
And pollution. That's a big problem in many cities. Air pollution from cars and factories, as well as noise and even light pollution.
Sometimes people feel lonely in a city, even though they're surrounded by thousands or even millions of people. Isn't that strange?
Yes, but it's true. If you don't have close friends or family, the city can feel a bit cold. Everyone is busy, always rushing somewhere. It's important to make connections and find a community.
Let's talk about another challenge: safety. Some people worry about crime in big cities. It's not always dangerous, but it's something to think about, right?
Yes, and I think it's important to remember that every city is different. Some are safer than others, and there are always safe neighborhoods and less safe ones. It's good to stay aware, but not to be scared.
Exactly. And there are ways to stay safe, like knowing your way around, making friends, and just being careful, especially at night.
So, to sum up, cities have lots of advantages: jobs, schools, culture, food, people. But they also have challenges: noise, cost, pollution, loneliness. It's really a personal choice.
I agree. And sometimes people move to a city for a few years, then later choose the countryside, or the opposite. It's not a forever decision.
Let's ask our listeners, have you ever dreamed of living in a big city? Or maybe you've left a city for a quieter place. Think about your reasons. Was it for work, school, family, or something else?
Yeah, and imagine you're moving to a new city. What's the first thing you'd want to do? Try a new food, find a cool cafe, visit a museum, There are so many options.
I'd probably head straight to a local bakery. Nothing says home like the smell of fresh bread.
I'd look for a music shop or a live concert. For me, the sound of a city is as important as the sights.
Ben, let's do a quick challenge for our listeners. Imagine you're meeting someone for the first time in a city. How would you introduce yourself? Maybe you could say, "Hi, I'm Emily. I just moved here from the countryside. Do you have any tips for a newcomer?"
That's a great idea. Or you could say, "Hello, my name is Ben. I'm new to the city. Can you recommend a good place to eat?"
Listeners, try practicing that out loud. It's a great way to build confidence for real conversations.
And remember, making mistakes is normal. Even native speakers get lost in big cities or say the wrong thing sometimes. Just smile and try again.
Let's talk about some common misconceptions. Some people think everyone in the city is unfriendly. But actually, I've met some of the kindest people in cities. People who helped me when I was lost or just smiled at me in a cafe.
That's so true. People are busy, but that doesn't mean they don't care. It just means you have to be a little brave and start the conversation.
And here's another tip. If you're feeling overwhelmed, find a park. Even in the busiest cities, there are green spaces to relax. I used to go to Hyde Park in London whenever I needed a break.
Central Park in New York is the same for me. It's like a little piece of nature in the middle of the city. You can walk, run, or just sit and watch the world go by.
Let's compare with other countries for a second. In the UK, a lot of people dream of moving to London or Manchester. But in the US, cities like Los Angeles, Chicago, and Houston are popular. And in Asia, there are mega cities like Shanghai or Mumbai.
That's true. And each city has its own personality. For example, New York is known as the city that never sleeps because it's always busy. Los Angeles is famous for movies and the beach. London has its history and its rainy weather.
And there are smaller cities too, with a different vibe. More relaxed, maybe less crowded, but still with lots of things to do.
So if you're thinking about moving to a city or just visiting, remember, every city is different. It's good to do some research, talk to people, and find the place that feels right for you.
And if you're learning English, cities are great places to practice. You can meet people from all over the world, hear different accents, and use your English every day.
Let's take a moment now to highlight some of the key vocabulary from today's episode. We'll explain what the words mean and how to use them.
First, urban. We talked about urban areas before. Urban means related to the city. For example, London is an urban area with many people and buildings.
Next, rural. That's the opposite of urban. Rural means in the countryside. For example, Emily grew up in a rural village.
Another word is melting pot. We said cities are a melting pot of cultures. This means people from many backgrounds mixing together. It comes from the idea of melting different metals to make something new.
How about public transportation? That means buses, trains, the subway, and all the ways people can travel together in a city. For example, public transportation in Tokyo is very efficient.
Let's not forget pollution. That means dirty air, water, or land, often from cars or factories. For example, big cities sometimes have problems with air pollution.
And cost of living? That means how much money you need to live in a place. For example, the cost of living in New York is very high.
One more. Community. That means the people living together in one place, sharing things, helping each other. For example, a strong community can make a city feel like home.
Great words, Emily. Listeners, try using these words when you talk about your city or your dreams for the future.
Before we wrap up, Ben, what's your final thought on city life?
I'd say living in a city is an adventure. There's always something new to discover, but it's important to find a balance. Make time for yourself and for the people you care about.
I agree. Cities are exciting, but they can be overwhelming. Remember to take a walk, find a quiet cafe, and enjoy the little things. And don't be afraid to explore.
Well, that's all for today's episode of the Daily English Podcast. Thanks for listening and for making English a part of your day.
If you enjoyed the show, tell a friend, or leave us a comment about your city dreams or experiences. We'd love to hear from you.
See you next time, everyone. Take care and keep practicing your English.
Goodbye. And remember, wherever you live, city or countryside, there's always something special to discover.